I'm Jacob.
I'm Yuri.
I'm Mark.
Mark is joining us as a professional race car driver.
Mark is going to coach us all day, see how he can make us faster, and we're going to see what our fastest lap is after some coaching.
I'm a factory driver for the Brian Herta Autosport Hyundai Veloster N TCR in the IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge Series.
Mark is going to drive, tell us what we're doing wrong, where we can gain the most time, and why we lost so much time.
But first, I'm going to walk you through my before and after lap so you can see how much improvement we've made. Watch my after lap on the left. That's the best way to see what I did right, and then you can look back later and see what I did wrong. So I was passing cars on both of these straightaways before I started my fast laps coincidentally. But if you look at the after one, I hit the brakes earlier, I come through the turn a little slower, but I exit a lot faster. And here, if you look on the after lap, I hit the brakes earlier and I use the whole turn to get through. I run right over the red part, which I don't do on my before lap. And then I stay very left, come in slow, and right after the exit of this one, I stay more to the right. And then I brake and turn at the same time so it rotates me on its own. And then I straighten myself out through this whole complex to try to get through as quickly as I can without turning the wheel. And this turn was a little bit of a nightmare in the before. I had no idea where to turn in and the cones were all off. But after seeing Mark's lap, I knew exactly how to approach this corner and I came out with a lot more speed. You can see I'm like 2 seconds faster to the chicane, which then I stay very right, turn a lot earlier and hit the red curb, which I didn't do in the before lap. Then I made sure I was nice and slow and careful through here, so I had a lot of exit speed and just touched that left curb right at the very end. And I don't think I used any brakes here in my after lap. I blew right through and made sure I had a really good approach for the straightaway. I even hit that cone, it didn't matter. Everything was about lap times, came 3 seconds faster than when I started the day. Now we're gonna cut to Mark in the car showing us how we should be driving the track. Then we'll show Jacob's before and after laps.
That's right. So as we run around the track here, we just have to remember that there's a few big factors. One is the track's a little bit green. We've had a lot of rain this spring. In fact, all the infield is more like a lake, but it's also a little bit of a bumpy circuit. So we need to set the car up in a way that's going to help with that, and compliance is really important. I mean compliance, that's damper settings. That's where do we set it so that we can get the ideal grip. And in my opinion, we go to sport for this track. Yeah, it works really well.
And so that's where I had it, and Yuri
And I was wrong on N.
He was on N, so I think, you know, N works very well, but I think just dialing that back just a touch for this track with the bumps is really important. But as we go through here, we're going to talk, you know, about line and about visual and where you want to place the car. This track, there's a lot of threading the needle in a lot of places. For example, the section we're coming up on right now, you really need to use all that road as much as you can, but position the car correctly here so that you can get the right line and get the car in the right spot for that next corner. And every corner is different. So in this case, we want to point the car a little late so that we can have a lot of room at the exit to get on that throttle and make sure we can get back to the right and use all the road. This is a pretty quick left-hander here. So placement is really important, and being just a little bit off can have a really big effect on your lap time. So as we start another lap here, we'll just continue to talk through it. But a couple of cool things, you know, visuals and references, things to look for to sort of braking and to know where to go. So we start to pick, there's a red line there, and I think that's a pretty good indication of where we want to talk about braking. As we roll through one, we know that there's a bump in the middle, so we need to make sure we get the car pointed and on throttle over that bump without scrubbing the tire or really working beyond the friction circle of the tire.
So I didn't really notice that bump.
I did.
I feel like the whole thing's a little bumpy, and that was just kind of one of them.
Yeah, even you taking these slower laps, I'm already seeing completely different line differences from my own lap.
Yes, so there's for example, like what we just went through, that complex there's a lot of throwaway there, and it's all for this section here. And you're really threading the needle, but this is tight here, and if you induce a little too much understeer, it's a twofold problem. You're either going to have to lift, or you're going to have to abuse the tire, and we don't want to abuse the tire. We want to keep the tire underneath us. We want to keep pressures and temp under control. That'll give us consistency, and consistency is really important as we run around here lap after lap.
So rather than going for like one super hot lap, you're trying to get the most of the hottest laps out of it by
Correct.
doing that.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's always in racing, it's all about consistency. It's all about hitting the same lap time for an entire duration of a race. And if you can be, you know, within the same 10th every lap, that's what you're going for. For example, even in the race car, if we hustle it too hard and we abuse the front tire, it will get too hot, it'll fall off, and it'll be very hard to retain the fastest possible lap time over the duration of a race. You might get one or two really great ones, but then you're going to be slower on the balance throughout the whole run of the race. So it's tire management, and it's knowing when you're at that limit and driving to that limit.
So are you using these cones as a frame of reference, like your turn in, your exit, your apex?
Yeah, so the cones are there for to help. It's just visuals. It's just having driven for a long time, I don't really use them much anymore. I know what I need and what I want the car to feel like. But if you haven't been to the track much and you're new to it, they're a fantastic way to learn. And you're just connecting the dots. So you've got your entry cone, your apex, and your exit. And in fact, that entry cone is not even close to the right spot.
And that's probably screwing both of us up.
Sure. Right. So that's where you know from experience what you can look for and what you can ignore.
So in particular, let's start with Jacob. What did you notice he did wrong the most on his laps?
Jacob was pretty hard on the brakes, and I can see why. I mean, we're on a racetrack. Why wouldn't you be? You want to use everything up. But I've always been under the impression, and in my racing, I always like to work up to it. So I'll be a little bit easier on the brakes, and I'll kind of add the braking component in towards the end to really bring my lap time down. But I always focus on getting the car positioned correctly first. And these laps we're doing right now that are at a slow speed, they're allowing me to kind of hit my marks consistently. And that's a good way to come up to speed and get comfortable and know where you're at. And then you can start to push it and naturally let the time come. So with Jacob, I know we did 2 hot laps, not many laps in the car before that. We have some changes to the car. So it's a lot to ask, but generally speaking, deep on the brakes, missing a few corners and being a little off the apex. And if you're off the apex 2 or 3 feet, that's a lot. I mean, I think if you're off the apex by a few inches, or maybe say 6 inches, you're missing something. So there's a lot of little things there. Gears, making sure you're in the right gear.
I did screw up here once.
Right, so that should be second. Also, getting to power too early. So if you get to power too early with a front-wheel drive car, you're going to induce understeer if the car isn't pointed up track enough. So car position, again, it comes back to that patience, getting the car rotated, and knowing that when you get back to throttle, you can commit fully to it and not induce a bunch of understeer sort of coming off the corner.
And what about Yuri?
Yuri was deep on the brakes again.
I learned from this guy. That's why.
Yeah, he's using them up, and it makes for a long track day if you run out of brakes. And the Veloster N has great brakes, but if you, like in any car, it doesn't matter what it is. If you overcook them, it's going to cost you some lap time in terms of being able to get back to throttle and being online correctly. So. Otherwise, a little bit of early throttle, some missed apexes, a little bit of being a bit overzealous in a few corners, trying to really hustle it when it needed a bit more finesse. So, definitely some stuff to work on between the two of you guys, but a great start, and we have lots to focus on.
So far, we're not terrible, though.
Nope, not terrible. I've done a lot of coaching, and there's some times where you really close your eyes and you just hope that you're going to go back in the pit lane that next lap, and we don't have that here, so we're having fun.
So we're slightly above
average.
No, you guys are good, and I think the car says a lot too, right? It's a very friendly, user-friendly car to drive, and it's a great tool. I mean, front-wheel drive is a great place to have fun, and these new age front-wheel drive cars, they handle so well, and they're so flickable, tossable, light. They're just fun, and so to come out here and kind of learn on a car like this is really great.
So should we do a fast lap with you next lap?
Sure.
So we can watch what you're doing, and then you can actually set your fast lap with only 2 people in the car, so it's not unfair.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a little extra ballast in here that I'd like to get rid of, but let's give it a go here.
right,
compared
and
to
then
us.
all the way to the apex. Okay, I definitely screwed that one up.
Yeah, me too. It's crazy because it's like, it feels rough, but also still smooth at the same time. Like, I feel like you're throwing it in harder, but it feels smoother.
Smooth is fast.
Yeah, that's crazy.
All right, take notes, take notes.
Yeah, I am. Here we go. Braking on that marker. Is
that second?
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
shifting on turns, I'm taking notes.
Sometimes you're in between gears. That's just the reality.
Yeah. I'm gonna watch this video back, and then I'm gonna watch where your eyes are looking. Ah, there's that patience rim rotation.
That's it.
You could feel it.
How does he do this?
Just before the white line there, and turns into super early compared to us. At least myself.
It's because we got the cones wrong.
Yeah. Whoever laid out these cones.
Okay, brakes before the chicane.
Yeah. Oh, rotate before. That makes sense.
I didn't catch that part, but
So he turned it in before so that you can carry the speed a little bit longer. At least that's what I noticed. All right. And tight here and flat.
what's his time? What's his time?
Let's see. You're still waiting. Still waiting. 126.6 with three of us in here. Okay.
That's gonna be hard to get to.
Yeah. Is there any reason you chose to stay in third there?
A little more entry speed that time. Just
Okay.
feeling out the tire. Just always learning
All right.
myself. You know, you're always trying to just find out what the available grip is, and
Cool.
just felt like the right choice.
So you turn in early to get the whole thing to kind of rotate first.
That's right.
I think I gotta watch the gears the most. Were you in second through there, Jacob?
Yeah, that was second.
I stayed through third for pretty much everything.
I didn't. Oh, and then that early, wow. That makes a big difference.
Yeah, okay.
There's like half a second right there for both of us. See, Yuri, watch. He turns in early and just sends it right here.
Yeah.
Patience here, patience. It's slow corner.
Yeah, okay.
Because he always exits very late on the curve, eh?
Yeah.
And we always hit it like super early.
Yep.
Because we're idiots.
This is why we're
And
here.
then he doesn't go to the very left here. He like kind of goes from the middle-ish.
Patience. Full throttle.
And send, okay. All right, let's see where we're at. Still waiting. Come on. 125.5. There's a second off.
There we go. So
Wow.
it's just playing with it. We're getting comfortable with the tire. There's a lot of extra weight, but yeah, it's just hitting those marks. It's being consistent. You know, keep those eyes up and just not hustling. I don't know if you noticed. Did it feel like the braking was that crazy?
No.
Right. And the pedal feels like it's getting better because we're letting the brakes cool a little bit.
Right.
You know, we're
So
going more mid-corner.
it wasn't the Veloster's fault that we cooked the brakes in the first one. It was our fault.
Right.
We have poor brake management skills.
Apparently, yes.
It's just reading what the car is telling you, and that's one thing that's so great about this car is you get that excellent feedback, and you need to just use that. And it's if it tells you I need to apex a little bit later to get that full throttle at that apex all the way out, give it to it. It'll respond. It's when you try to ask for too much, you know, roll too much speed and go beyond that grip limit of the tire that you just create heat, and then you end up making the job so much harder because the tire just loses grip as it gets hot.
You know, I think I need to take a break from this back seat, to be honest.
Yeah, okay.
How is it back there?
I'm really good at being in the back seat of cars on track.
Yeah.
But I'm just a little out of it right now.
A little out of it. Okay. Watch my before lap on the right, but I'm going to show you the improvements on the left. I really tried to focus on what Mark told me. I made adjustments to my braking zones, my braking pressure, and my racing line. I turned in much earlier into corner 1, which resulted in a much faster exit speed because I was on the throttle much earlier. So I have about half a second faster on my previous lap already. On corner 2, I turned in earlier nailed that apex, and I was still on the throttle right there. I backed off just to set up for the next section because there's more time to be made right through here. I used weight transfer to my advantage, turned in much earlier, short shifted into third to rebalance the chassis, and I'm basically flat out through this whole section right here. This sets me up for the next section, which again, I turned in much earlier and completely changed my racing line. I got a much better exit, and on this straight, I made up a ton of time. After the chicane, I stayed to the right so that I would turn in much earlier and nail this apex while still being on the throttle. Through this section, I had to use a lot of patience. If you don't use patience, you're going to understeer and you're going to wash out and you lose a lot of time. I didn't even touch the brakes until right here. This section I still had some trouble with, but I'm already 2.5 seconds up from my previous lap. I was on the throttle right there, and I'll let the lap times speak for themselves.
That patience is great. Roll that speed here, nice and patient. And then here, yeah, you're gonna just get it slowed up just a little bit, and you can use a touch more track in the middle of the corner there. Just
Okay.
open that up a little bit more.
Okay.
So we'll find the limit of the brakes without overcooking them.
Yeah, I'm going a little early there, but
Ease out, turn in.
I might be able to
Full
rotate
throttle.
it a little
Perfect.
earlier.
Look at that.
Yeah.
That looked good.
So yeah, I felt like I turned in early, but that was
Yes.
correct.
That was correct.
Okay.
Yes, you had it spot on. Getting that braking done here. Use that curb. Roll it in. There's nothing to gain on the back side of this section, right? So you just need to get it wound up. Patience here. Get to throttle now. Ease out. Roll it in. Good. Tight to that curb. Perfect. Too much steering there. Back
Gotcha.
to the left. So just fine tune that, but very nice.
Okay.
Roll it, and then patient, 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 patient. Full throttle, unwind the wheel.
Okay.
Nice, feels good.
Ooh,
Oh,
my bad.
all right, roll it through here in the limiter. Good stuff. Good stuff. Now back to throttle. Unwind that wheel a little bit, just to free it up as best you can.
Yeah, I should have been a little
Roll
bit
it here.
smoother.
No, that looks pretty good.
Okay.
Always can be a little smoother. So you're driving hard into that apex, and that's hurting this.
Gotcha.
We need to fix this. This is the area we'll focus on next lap.
And I'll probably have a pretty big improvement because
Absolutely. It's all about that straightaway speed and maximizing that.
Okay. The lap time there or no?
29.1. Brakes.
Okay.
Ease out. Roll it in. Good. Back to throttle. Smooth ease out, transfer that weight nice and progressively, use that curb.
And then there's nothing to gain here.
Nothing
so
really
I'm
to
gonna
gain, so you
back
can roll a
off.
little more in here and just lean on the tire a little harder. It has a little more grip to give there.
Okay. Here, turn in early.
Yep, that's good. Third gear. Good, now full throttle. You can see you've calmed the car down by going up a gear, right? And there's lots of torque. All these little things.
Yeah.
Perfect, full throttle. Unwind. Go. Good stuff.
Okay.
Okay. You could be a little lighter on the brake there and just a touch more in here, and to make this do this a little more in anger. There's a little more speed to be had there.
Okay.
Patience, patience, smooth, and then on it. You can smoothly go to throttle too and not overwhelm the tire.
Okay, so now I'm gonna take this wider.
Yep, so just ease that brake. See, roll it now. Just off and roll it, roll it. Doesn't that feel a little bit better already? And look at the angle. Boom, full throttle.
Yeah, that felt a lot better.
Good gain there. Yeah, good gain there. Nice.
Okay.
29 flat.
29, huh?
Okay, get that braking done. Ease out. Good, full throttle. So we just missed it just a touch, but I knew that we had enough grip there we could commit. So I gave the go, get on it.
Yep.
And so for here, get it wound up, get the shift done, ease out, roll the speed. Remember, not much to gain on the flip side here, so carry it in, get the shift done, off and roll it. Roll it, little bit of throttle. Now get on the throttle hard. Off, roll it. Short shift to third.
Oh yeah.
There you go, full throttle, full throttle. As soon as you go to third, you can go to full. Because
Okay.
all of a sudden you've
Yes.
calmed the car down a little bit by making that shift. Off, patience, full throttle.
So a little delayed there.
So there's a little more mid-corner speed there that can be had.
Yep.
We'll just keep working up to that. Smooth in here, that's good. And then off and roll it, roll it, roll it. That's it.
Already there. Oh yeah, okay.
See? And you just can get that flow and you can really feel the car as it loads on each side. Back to full throttle.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. And then here, just coast.
Yep, and remember, yeah, that's nice. Smooth here, smooth, smooth. Good, good. Off that brake, roll it, lean on the tire. See, so a touch early to throttle. Missed that apex just a bit,
Yep.
but you were able to drive out of it, so it's okay, but we just want to keep that nice and tidy.
Okay.
28.6.
Okay.
On that brake, you're getting in a touch deep. Full throttle. So even you can see if the trajectory's right,
Yeah.
you can commit to it. So your turning point was very good there.
Okay.
Good. Smooth here. Yep, right at that limit. Good stuff. And get it woed up here. Off, roll it, roll it, roll it. A little bit of throttle, a little bit more.
Oh yeah.
See how it'll pull,
Yeah.
the diff will pull it. So you can use that tool.
It does.
Okay, third gear, full throttle.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so
makes a
we're
difference.
working up to that,
Yeah.
and you're short shifting maybe a touch early, but that's okay. We want to get you in that rhythm. That's
Right.
the goal. Full throttle, unwind.
Okay.
Okay, carry the speed, a little more speed here, right? Roll it, roll it, roll it. Yeah, okay. Okay, carry, roll, roll, roll. Smooth on throttle, full throttle. Smooth, very nice. Remember, a little bit of brake, ease out, roll the speed, carry it.
So roll, you just mean feather it,
just
basically?
feather it,
Okay.
full throttle. Just basically don't over slow it, just trying to get you to just keep the momentum up, basically. That's
Okay.
it. 27.4.
Okay, so let's slow down and just tell me kind of where to look, because I feel like I'm looking at the wrong spot.
Okay.
So here, I'm still looking here, and now I've already started there.
You always want to be, you want to keep those eyes up, and we're all caught in the daily drive of looking at the back of everyone's bumper,
Yep.
and that's exactly what we don't want to do. So eyes low means a lot more reactionary type feedback. I mean, you're kind of looking down, and then oh, the corner's there. And so to try to smooth it out and make everything, slow everything down, if you will.
Yep.
Keep the eyes up and be looking around the corner. So, for example, looking for your apex.
So here I'm already looking for it.
Yep, and now look for where your entry point is
Right
here. Thinking about where your apex is, looking for that.
So right there.
You got it.
And then go wide out. I should already be in third, but I'm not going for my hot lap.
Right, you're just.
Now I'm trying to go straight.
Just keep the eyes up on the horizon there, so that everything that's coming at you is going to come at you a little bit slower. If that makes sense, just because you're a step ahead of it.
Yeah, and then here I should already be looking there.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
And then here.
Yep, so eyes up, you're thinking, okay, how do I make this as straight as possible?
Yeah.
So you got the eyes up through there. You don't want to dip in that little divot there through here. The
I'm already looking there.
Already looking down to your entry point.
And here I'm looking
right
at my
your
exit.
apex, and now your exit.
Okay.
And now well down the track.
Okay. All right, cool. So I'm going to let Yuri have a little go in here.
Good stuff.
And I think I understand what's going on now.
It looks really good, and getting me out of the car and will give you a little bit more time as well, just it's eliminating some unnecessary weight.
Yeah.
But it looks good, and I think the next evolution of that is to retain the changes to the line and the new visuals and all of that, and then apply that aggressiveness, bring that aggressiveness up a little bit more again, tickle that back up. But retaining that line that you that we've been working hard to achieve, and the consistency.
Yeah,
it's all about that consistency.
And the brake feel and all that stuff. Like my braking was better, not as aggressive.
Yep.
Probably a little too.
Maybe backed up too much, but that's good. That's what I wanted, so it's great, because to back it up a little bit too much, you can always bring it back, and you just want to make sure that you're not overcooking it and trying to bring it back. Work up to it as opposed to working down.
Right.
It's always better that way, I find.
Okay, cool.
And then smooth on that shift and roll off. So right in here where you go to throttle, let's roll a little more speed and just lean on the tire a bit harder.
Okay, I don't fully understand what that means, but I will try.
Okay, we'll talk about it when we get there. We always have to move on quickly to the next section. Good and patient, smooth on throttle.
I love these shift lights.
Aren't they nice?
They're the best.
Good, smooth shift, off and rolling. So we want to be a little more to the right before we make that left there. We'll work on that a little bit. This is much better line on entry, perfect. Now commit to throttle, it probably felt much better to you there.
Oh yeah.
Good. So smooth.
When do I downshift?
Yep, kind of right in here. So that snappiness, you feel it move the weight to the rear, then it's induces a bit of that understeer. So by making the engine peakier by being in second, we have to really respect the throttle position and be nice and smooth with it. Awesome. You're right at that limit for one for sure.
Oh, that felt really good. That felt really fast.
Good. So get that braking done. Okay, ease off and roll it. Get back to throttle a bit, all the way to the outside, brake, off, roll it. Good, better, right?
That felt way faster.
Now get it, make sure you slow it up to get there. Good, patient, third gear. See, by going to third, you calm the front down a little bit. So what I mean is the power down is easier.
Oh, blew it. I think I was trying to listen to you, and
yes, yeah.
I don't understand the third power, calming the power down.
So calming the power down means when the engine is really peaky and sharp, you can create or induce some wheel spin or more understeer because you're overwhelming the tire a bit. But by going to third and dropping the revs down lower, the application is actually a little smoother, if that makes sense. So it's not as susceptible to wanting to understeer, which means you can commit to throttle and know that you can stay on it, as opposed to having to lift or do that, which will just cost you time.
Okay, I'm still kind of confused by that. Maybe next lesson.
No problem. It's a lot. It's a lot of info, and you're driving.
Oh, that was
a little bit over.
Yeah.
And so you see, you have to just really wait for the tire to recover, and that hurts that exit.
Was that an okay job of like not blowing it completely?
Yep, for sure.
Oh yeah.
That one, I don't know if I can give you that one. Maybe it's good. Use the diff there to help with the throttle. It's perfect. Roll it, great, right to the cone, and then smooth. So see how it's peaky right now? Like you can't really commit to full throttle till late. When you go to third, you can just mat it. That's all I mean. You can just, right when you go to third, full throttle.
Okay.
And you'll never have, and you just drive it out. It actually will make the car feel a lot more sort of planted and you won't be worrying about.
I think I get that.
Yeah, that's all it is. So good on the entry there. We'll work on smoothing out 9 a little bit.
Okay.
Smooth through right to that apex. And then here, I just want, see how you kind of drive into this apex?
Yeah.
I want to open that up. Let's miss that apex and focus just on this apex. So a little wider entry to point the car and allow for earlier power down.
Yeah, because I'm more triangular than like nice big arch.
You're kind of, what you end up doing is over slowing in the first part, and then you never really are able to recover it after that. It's just the car, it's all about momentum. Keep the speed up, roll the speed. Some traffic.
Well, I'll try to take this turn nicely and then adjust for traffic.
Yeah, so right in there, the diff, if the tire's underneath you, you can just mat it and the diff will really work.
So nice on the outside.
So where the car rolls there back, as you pull it back to the right, we'll just try to smooth that out a little bit. So we maybe not pull the car all the way back over because we're transferring a lot of weight around.
The left and right stuff?
You got it.
Okay, so this is wider, right?
So that's tighter. This is wider here.
Yeah.
So you're not by much, but watch what happens here. Your trajectory changes. You just want to point the car more at the apex, just slightly change the angle.
Yeah,
So
I was way too wide on that last exit.
it's a bit of a change, so it'll take a few laps to kind of sink in and feel. Right at that apex, good. And then remember, get the shift done, and then off the brake and roll it. And that's a little too much throttle. Nice and smooth on your application. That's all, just smooth it out.
I do have a hard time being smooth. I know that
that just moves weight, which makes it the car's not quite sure how to respond.
So through this chicane.
So see that early turn in, what happens? Way too much steering there.
Okay.
So we need to open the entry up so that the angle is better.
So I steered too early, right?
Correct. You steer too early and then have to steer too much as a result of that early turn in.
I'm losing too much speed going left and right there?
Right. So because the car is doing this, it never settles enough to be confident to hustle it.
Yeah.
So we just need to straighten that up a little bit and then get off the brake and roll it.
Okay.
So this is good. So just a touch wider, off-roll it now, lean on the tire, and now point it, and full throttle.
Oh, okay,
See?
that felt way better.
There you go. That's exactly what we want to work towards there.
Okay, I'll do another lap or so and then bring it in.
Yeah, you bet. Whatever you want, we can go all day.
Okay.
Okay, that braking done, shift. Okay, patience, get to that apex full throttle. As soon as it goes and sets, commit to that throttle.
Okay, so I was maybe a little bit late.
Just a touch late.
And is this one? Am I doing this one right or no? I'm not on the I'm not on the power early enough.
Not early enough. So you carry it, roll it over the red curb. So you're just a touch wide, and then shift and come off and roll it. And just patience with the throttle. Now feed into the throttle. So
I shouldn't have shifted.
You went to third too soon.
Yeah,
so third has to be right here.
Yeah, that's right. I just zoned out.
No problem.
And then here I got to go way wider.
So just a bit wider on the turn in, and now get it into that apex.
Is that
commit?
better?
I would go even wider and open that up even a little bit
wider
more.
from the beginning. Okay.
Correct, from the beginning.
And then from here, the hustle thing is just keep it straight.
Yep. Get the braking done. So that what happened there is there's a bit of a balance, and we need to roll the speed in 9, which is over the curve, the red curb there.
Yeah.
So we can brake it just a touch earlier through the early part of those S's.
Okay.
And then set the car up to hustle 9.
Okay, I think I'm taking in too much information now.
Yeah, it's a lot. This is perfect. My goal is to overwhelm you. No.
I think that felt better on that exit there.
Yep.
With my
that was much better. That was good.
So that was our first track day with Mark, learning how to become faster drivers. My goal was to be 2 seconds faster than when I started today. Your goal?
Also 2 seconds, which I also did do by almost 3 seconds.
And I was just about 3 seconds as well.
Yeah, you were much more improved than I was overall.
Yeah. What did you notice was our biggest improvement? Like what factor of your instruction do you think helped us the most?
We covered a lot of topics today, but I think focusing on getting off the corner, getting that power down sooner, focusing on corners that lead to long straightaways, and just tidying up the line a little bit, to be honest. You guys did a great job, picked it up really quick, and helps to have a fun car.
A cool car?
Cool car to do it in.
A car with some really good tires. Shout out Continental for sponsoring the series.
So what's your sponsors? Give them a shout out.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I just I guess I'll say hi to all my guys on the race team, Brian Hurd Autosport, Mason, Harry, and of course Michael Lewis, my co-driver. Hope you guys enjoy this video, and I know they're all jealous that I get to take this awesome Veloster N on track here and have fun with you guys.
I thought you were gonna say that they're jealous that they can't hang out with us.
Yeah, that's true. They live in the wrong part of the country. What can I say?
All right, well, looking forward to the next one. We're doing more of these, so expect more track videos.
And if you want to come to this track and try it out, if you're near Toronto, it's Toronto Motorsport Park near Cayuga.
Yeah, it's really close to Toronto, super cheap to go here. I would recommend bringing your own car and just having some fun.
Great place to have a blast.
Don't forget to subscribe.
Hit the notification bell.
And check out patreon.com/TheStraightPipes, YouTube membership, and Teespring.
And what's your Instagram?
At Mark Jeremy Wilkins.
And
cheer for Mark. What are you doing?
Oh.
Now he's a straight piper as
Oh,
well.
all right. Thanks, guys. That's awesome. I love it.
I'm Yuri.
I'm Jacob.
We're going for a drive. This is a subscription break. Don't forget to subscribe.
Subscribe right now. Subscribe. We didn't do that.